Does the Summator add up? A crossout video by Dangerously Incompetent. What's the Summator? I'm glad you asked. It's a brand new weapon from the founders. It's a nail gun. It fires nails. It's a bit like the Spike, only smaller, and then crossed with a junk bow, because it's got two firing modes. It's got a single firing mode, which is good at range, and then it's got a burst firing mode, which is good at short range, a bit like the junk bow is. So there you can see it rotating in all its glory, and I see the nails on the magazine rack. Let's have a look at the stats. Well, it's got special power score, it's got some damage, and it's got some fire rate, and it's got some range. Well, that range is really short. That's the burst range, really. The single fire range is more like the vector, or maybe even a bit longer, so it's 3, maybe 4 bars, and the accuracy is pretty good too. Durability is a bit on the low side, maybe. Certainly lower than the junk bow, significantly lower than the junk bow, and 4 energy points and some mass. Well, that's the stats out of the way. Where can you get such a fine weapon? Let's have a look. You find it in the Founders. You unlock it. Well, if you got a Battle Pass, you probably already locked it and received your free copy of the Summator, free fused copy of the Summator with extra durability and less spread. Well, it doesn't really need less spread. It's pretty accurate anyway. But if you've not got a Battle Pass, and you've also probably already unlocked it, because it's only in level 2, and you unlock the blueprints, and then you can craft it. And you can craft it on the factions, founders, bang, there you go, the Summator. It requires a defender and a borer and some resources. Or you could just buy it off the marketplace if you're feeling coin rich. Some stuff the stats don't tell you, and they really, really ought to, is how does it reload? Well, it looks like it's got a clip, doesn't it? It's got 6 nails in there, so you fire 6 nails. It's like a revolver. You fire 6 shots off, and then you've got a reload delay. Nope. Guess again. Does it overheat? Nope, doesn't overheat. It has a reload delay, or more accurately, a load delay. If you're firing in single shot mode, it's load, fire, load, fire, load, fire, load, fire. If you're firing in burst mode, it's more like load, loading, still loading, ready to fire, I'm ready to fire, I'm ready to fire, you got to fire soon, I can't hold it much longer, I fired, is what you get. And then you can pick whichever. Are you going to load single fires, or are you going to fire the load up for a burst again? And also, there is no ammo count. So the only things that affect your fire rate are the engines, which boost the reload speed of weapons. Next, how big is it? That's a rather personal question. I'll start again. Next, how big is it? Where can you fit it in your builds? If we press the F button to put the squares in, we can see it sits on 2x2 squares. That's the same as a sledgehammer. I wonder if it looks a bit bigger than a sledgehammer. I wonder if it'll fit in the same place as a sledgehammer. Here we have my demolisher build, which I seem to have used the wheels for something. Maybe I crafted something. Anyway, let's pick up a Summator, pull out a sledgehammer, and no, it's bigger than the sledgehammer. Put them side by side, yeah, definitely bigger than the side of that sledgehammer. It's got the same footprint for attachment, but it's got a bigger area. So what could we try? Is it as big as a junk bow? So if I load up you, where I fitted some Summators in, and we'll pick up a junk bow, and let's put it, there you go. Now, will you gonna? Nope, it's not as big as a junk bow. If we put it side by side, well, the junk bow is definitely bigger on the base, and it's bigger all round, really. So it's not as big as a junk bow. Actually, what it is, the same size as is there. An Emily. Let's pick up a Summator, and it should fit right in there. Pop. There you go. Just like an Emily, maybe slightly bigger. One thing you have to watch out for when you're planting it in your builds is that it's got a back end. The Emily doesn't have a back end. It doesn't stick out much past its base, but the Summator does. And you can see there. See that little dip there where I can't shoot up in that section? That's because the rear end is clipping on that bit of structure there. So you do need a good bit of room front and back, all the way around it if you're going to, because it'll spin all the way around. Test drive goes wee. Yep. Will it turn all the way around? Yes, it will turn all the way around. See, lovely traverse. Doesn't mention that either in the stats, does it? And it should. Oh, if only these stats were complete. Let's take it out on the range, see how it performs. And while we're heading that way, let's check out its traverse. So I'm going to spin, but keep looking in the same direction, and the Summator still points in the same direction, so its traverse speed is pretty good. Again, the stats don't tell you that though, and we really wish they would, and it'll go all the way around. Right, I've put a horizon on so we can see what we're doing. Oh, a bullseye, let's shoot at that. Oh, it falls off when you shoot it. Let's shoot the cabin instead, shall we? So there we go, some damage. You can just about there, you can see there's dispersion. Let's shoot something a little further away. Yeah, you get to see the dispersion a bit more, a bit further away. Now you can start to see it's arcing. The shot is actually dropping down as it travels. Let's go 300 meters. Now you can really see it dropping off, and you can see the dispersion going all over the place. And you can also see the damage has started to drop off. Up to 150 meters, still 26, like it is at 50 meters. It's fine for short and medium range. It's only sort of past 300 meters that your damage is going to drop off, and it's not going to be very effective. Considering, of course, if you hit, given the dispersion and the projectile falling as it travels. That was a single fire mode, which you can see. So it's ready to fire, fills up again, ready to fire again, ready to fire again, ready to fire. Now let's do the burst mode. So to do burst mode, you press the fire button and hold it down so it loads. Now it's ready to fire, but it can only hold it so long, and then it shoots off on its own. Or you can choose when to shoot it. It's ready, I'm going to shoot it now. And it looks like there's an awful lot more dispersion on the burst fire. Look at it all over the place. And what sort of damage can we expect? A chunk. Let's do another one. A chunk. And let's try 150 meters away. The damage has dropped. The damage drops significantly. I'm not quite sure whether it's all the projectiles aren't hitting, or the projectiles aren't hitting with as much force, but I think they're not hit with both. See, look at that dispersion all over the shop. Didn't even hit with one. So it might be a bit of both. But anyway, at anything past 100 meters, the dispersion and the shot weakness means the damage drops off dramatically. So you only want to use the burst at short range, unless you're trying to tap a chameleoned up, hidden camouflage, can't see him, boom, let's have a spray of fire, oh look, there he is, sort of effect. Since the burst mode is much like a junk bow, let's actually give a side-by-side comparison with a junk bow. Off we go. First off, reload speed. That's pretty much the same. Now, damage-wise, let's start at the 50-meter line. So, junk bow first. Nothing. Remember, the junk bow range is really limited. Doesn't do damage until you get quite close to the enemy. Whereas the burst mode for the Summator, quite happy at 50 meters, about 150 damage. Let's try about 25 meters, shall we? Junk bow, about 100. That's still less than the Summator at 130. It's a really close range. About 100 off the junk bow. 150 off the Summator. It's only when you get... Oh, that's on fire, so we're not going to see the full damage. Only when you get utterly point blank, reach out and touch somebody range. Let's get off a bit. Off a bit. 100. No, that's nearly 150. That the junk bow actually catches up. So the junk bow's damage just drops off really rapidly compared. I'm going too fast there. Really fast compared to the Summator. That's one weakness of the Summator. It's a bit more fiddly to fire because you got to time it. So you got to hold your firing finger down to load it, and then you got a short period when it's loaded that you can actually fire it. And if you start trying to load it while it can't shoot because you're pointing at your immediate structure, then it won't load. Even if you go to where you can fire, I'm still holding my finger down, it won't load until you release your finger and hold it down again. And then it takes a second or two to load, and then you've got a second or two to aim up and fire before it fires off itself. So damage wise, it's superior to the junk bow because it does its damage from much further out. Point blank range, they're about the same. The only disadvantage with the Summator is that it's got 80 less durability. The junk bow's got half as much again as the Summator, and the Summator's more fiddly to fire. Which doesn't sound bad, but when you're in the heat of combat, it can get a bit fraught. Enough with the dry statistics. Let's get our hands dirty and try out the Summator in a battle. Now in this battle I got MVP by staying alive and dealing damage a lot of the time, which is exactly what you need to do with a frail, manoeuvrable hover build like this one. That's what I was specialised in, ducking and diving and dodging away. When someone concentrates on you, you get away, and then when they're not concentrating on you and shooting at someone else, you put in the damage. You've got the time to aim, you're not under pressure, you're doing the damage, and that's the way you get a score and you stay alive to the end of the battle, and hopefully if you're doing it well, you help your team win. In this battle I didn't use the burst mode. I don't think I used it at all, and at the time I felt there's just no good opportunity to use it. I had it in my mind that if I was in a position where I had no firing solution, then I'll charge it up and then I'll pop out and shoot the enemy with a big burst of damage. Now in hindsight, what I should have been doing was, whilst I was at medium range, using the single fire with its accuracy and just get a constant drain of damage done to the enemy in order to wear them down. But when I move from medium to short range, I should be using burst because it's more effective. You do a big chunk of damage in a relatively small area, which is a good way of stripping weapons or drilling through to a generator or a fuel tank or taking off wheels or something, rather than just the one-shot thing, which is you end up shooting them all over the place because you're in combat, you're zooming around. It's hard to hit the same thing time and time and time and time and time again. The problem is, why I didn't play like that in this battle, is that burst fire is a lot more fiddly. Instead of, oh look, my cursor's over the target, fire. Instead of that sort of a shooting mode, you've got to point your guns up to make sure you're going to charge them. You want to avoid failing to charge because, oh look, I'm just pointing at the front end of my vehicle, so they can't fire, so they're not charging. I've held down the button, and by the time I've realised it's not charged, I've wasted a couple of seconds. Hold the fire button down, charge it up. Now it's charged, now I've got to find a shot within a couple of seconds, otherwise it just goes off and probably get wasted. And it sounds like you could, I should be able to do that, okay, but once you're in combat, especially if you're in close combat, when you're under pressure, when you're dodging and you're ducking and you're dipping and you're diving and you're dodging, all to avoid the enemy spanners coming at you, it's a lot more difficult to do that. In this battle, I did use the burst mode, but that comes later. First off, I'm not going down the bridge. No, I'm in a frail bird. That's a bad idea. I'm going to come up to the grassy knoll and do a bit of sniping. And there's nothing to lose with sniping with the Summator. It's got unlimited ammo. I can snipe all day. The only risk is that the enemy sniper's going to get me with a cannon shot, which could be a bit crippling. But in return, once I get my eye in, I start doing damage, and it's harassing fire really. I'm driving them off their sniping position, because if they stay there, I'm just going to keep on doing damage to them, and eventually wear them down and destroy something vital. Bang, bang, bang. Yep, you're going to keep on firing. You're not getting any hits, and I am. But I tire of this, and the rest of the team has pushed forward into the valley, and there's a fight going on, so it's time to close up. Let's charge up and get a bit there. Chunk of damage there, and now I'm being shot at, so I got fire, shoot, 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 and shoot again, and yeah, I didn't charge up. But you notice I'm shooting this guy a lot before I'll get rid of something critical. So there's a charge shot and a second charge shot, 2 bursts, 2 large chunks of damage in the same area, and he's out of there. He's gone. So yeah, burst mode at short range is the way to go. It's just maintaining the firing discipline, the trigger discipline, in order to do it. In summary, the Summator is an interesting weapon with its dual firing modes. Its burst mode has a better damage output than the junk bow, plus you can shoot out single tap and shoot out to medium ranges. So if you're a junk bow aficionado, the Summator's definitely worth trying out. And so long as you can master the burst mode's firing control mechanism of you've got to load it, and then you've only got a couple of seconds once you can fire the burst. So long as you can master that, you're laughing. It's better than the junk bow, apart from a bit lower durability. Now I came with my hover build that you just see me zooming around in battling. I came at it from the other way. I was looking at a snipery type weapon that could do burst damage when things got up close and personal. And as a sniper weapon, it's not so good. Its dispersion and its drop off, and it only does to medium range as the damage drops off any further. So all in all, as a snipery weapon, not quite as effective as it needs to be. The damage output isn't there for the snipery weapon, especially if you compare it to something like a cannon. So I think I'll be playing this again, but next time I'll go for a wheeled wedgie build with the Summators enclosed by embrasures for their extra defense, because they don't have that huge durability of the junk bow. But it's definitely something I'm going to be coming back to and trying again. That's it for this video. Like the video, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Twitch for more dangerously incompetent goodness.